Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
When Roe fell, Mrs. Dixon celebrated that. Rights that I've had my whole life are now been ripped away from women and girls in this country.
After hundreds of thousands of signatures in Michigan and a state Supreme Court decision, the right to an abortion in the state will now be decided by the voters.
I am pro-life with exceptions for life of the mother. She will lie to you tonight and tell you that the governor can do something about a constitutional amendment.
Mrs. Dixon is either woefully underinformed about the office she's running for, or she's lying to you. It's that simple. A governor will absolutely impact these rights.
After the debate was over,
I feel like we had a strong debate.
And why do you feel that?
I think we were able to point out a lot of the things that the governor hasn't been honest about.
I know we say every election is the most important of our lifetime. We're not being hyperbolic. It's just that the stakes keep getting higher.
back in Wisconsin, the live crowd was a factor throughout the debate, including during the topic of foreign policy, when Barnes brought up the FBI telling Johnson in 2020 he may have been the target of Russian disinformation. Johnson said he believed it was a political ploy.
The FBI set me up with a corrupt briefing and then leaked that to smear me.
The debate ended with the candidates being asked to say one thing they admire about their opponent.
I do think, the senator has proven to be a family man, and I think that's admirable.
He had, good upbringing. I guess what puzzles me about that is with that upbringing, why is he turned against America? I mean, why does he find the founding of America awful?
Happy Friday, you bastards. Happy Friday. So last night was debate night. I don't, you would never know from the TV news. You would never know. Would you? Did you watch? Did you know? Did anybody tell you? Except for me, I don't know. But there were two debates last night. One started at 7 o'clock, one started at 7:30. The 7 o'clock was a Senate race. And this is what I told you, that there's only 100 people in this entire world, in the entire globe, on the planet, that are United States senators. That is how rarefied the air up there is. 100 people. And there was a debate last night for that gig, for that job in Wisconsin. It was between Mandela Barnes, the lieutenant governor currently, and Ron Johnson, the current United States senator. And, you never would have known that happened. Also, there was a governor's debate last night that started at 7:30 in Michigan. That was Gretchen Whitmer debating conspiracy theorist, Trump-endorsed liar, soft-core porn star, producer of the world's worst campaign commercial ever.
Hey, have you seen the TV ads with the governor talking about the great things she's done for Michigan?
She's a liar. Whitmer can say what she wants, but we live here. Just look around, man.
During COVID, Whitmer locked down businesses like the Owasso Barber and put one woman from Holland in jail. Oh, yeah.
3,000 restaurants closed. And she's pro-business?
Yeah, right.
And what about those higher gas and food prices?
Our schools were closed for almost 2 years. Poor kids.
Speaking of kids, Whitmer says she's going to work like hell to keep killing babies.
And she put COVID patients in Graham's nursing home.
Graham died alone.
Okay. I'm voting for the other chick. What's her name?
Tudor Dixon.
Hey, let's roll.
Watch out for potholes. Whitmer never kept her promise to fix the damn roads.
Okay, I think the only people who think that the roads aren't fixed in Wisconsin are people who don't live in Wisconsin. Okay, so that was like the world's worst campaign, and I've seen so many really bad, stinking bad, horrible bad ads. But that one is just like the oh my God of them all. Okay, so there was a debate last night between Gretchen Whitmer and Tudor Dixon, the producer of that commercial. So it wasn't on the TV. No, I mean, but I will tell you that the debate between Mandela Barnes and Ron Johnson was so epic. It was so epic. It was a live audience debate, okay? If the audience wasn't laughing at Ron Johnson, they were booing Ron Johnson. I mean, he did such a pathetic job of debating. It's almost like he doesn't think, that he needs to do anything except lock up the imbecile vote or lock up the conspiracy theory, the FBI. I hate the FBI. I love the Russian vote. I don't know what he was doing because it was embarrassing. Mandela Barnes actually recalled the time. I hope you do too. In 2020, when the FBI had to sit Ron Johnson down, because Ron Johnson didn't give a rat's ass about anything that Biden was trying to do in Ukraine to keep Russians from invading Ukraine forever. He just didn't care about it. And then all of a sudden, the Orange Mussolini decided that he wanted dirt. He wanted dirt on Biden out of Ukraine. And Ron Johnson became very interested in what was going on with the then Vice President Joe Biden and Ukraine. Well, Ron Johnson, and other Republican senators went to Russia on the 4th of July. I believe it was 2020. And Ron Johnson, who is, believe it or not, and this is, if you were watching the hearing yesterday, you understand that the Department of Homeland Security is in charge of the Secret Service, who knew that there was going to be violence on January 6th. Okay. So that said, Ron Johnson is the chairman, or was the chairman, of the Homeland Security Committee, and went to Russia. And in Russia, he was targeted by Russians for Russian propaganda. And a Russian operative, a Russian agent, approached Ron Johnson and filled his head with garbage, bad information, hoping that the head of the Homeland Security, committee would then say that he's got dirt on Joe Biden. Okay, that actually happened. So the FBI had to sit Ron Johnson down and tell Ron Johnson that he was being used by Russian intelligence, that he was targeted by Russian intelligence. And at that time, Ron Johnson admitted that happened. He actually told the Washington Post, the New York Times, he told them that he knew that had happened, because the FBI had given him a private briefing, and he conceded that he had, quote, been a target of Russian disinformation. Okay, that said, they're questioning, Ron Johnson was questioning Mandela Barnes' patriotism last night, and Mandela Barnes brought this up in response.
I'm proud of the Ukrainian people showing immense courage in a difficult situation. We need to do everything we can short of American boots on the ground. There's no appetite for it. And Putin also needs to be held accountable. We need to continue to call out his war crimes. We need to up sanctions on Putin. However, we have someone, Senator Johnson, who once praised Putin as a smart guy. Now, if Putin is successful in Ukraine, he's going to encroach on more territory. It'll also be a green light to other autocratic leaders. There was also an instance where Senator Johnson had to be sat down by the FBI and warned that he may be a Russian asset. We cannot trust Senator Johnson to protect democracy abroad, because we can't even trust Senator Johnson to protect democracy here at home.
So, of course, Ron Johnson was allowed to reply. And his reply was pretty much, bitch, set me up.
The FBI set me up with a corrupt briefing and then leaked that to smear me. I'm sorry.
All right.
He is referring to corruption with the FBI, which I've been trying to uncover and expose.
All right.
And they laughed at him. That's not a good thing. It's not a good thing when the audience is laughing at you at your debate, and when they're not laughing at you at your debate, they're booing you at your debate, which also happened to Ron Johnson last night.